Hello, so we're gonna start animating run cycle now. And here we have this video reference. I sent out the two video references, or maybe three video references. And this first one was your regular person's running, and the second one right here that you're watching is professional runners run cycle. And if you can see here, the difference is would be speed first, but the professional runners ball of the foot coming down first, while this regular person is running their heels of the foot coming down first to make a contact with the floor. So that will be one of the major differences besides speed and all that other stuff. And if you see this, this is Richard Williams's key poses for running. And if you see, he made this ball coming down first. I mean, if you see other drawings by him, you will see many different variations. But this is one of the key poses that he did. And but the what we're gonna use today is kind of mixture of both. But we're gonna make the heel coming down first when we animate one cycle, and this would be our first key pose, I believe. So contact pose, just like the walk cycle, we're gonna make the contact pose first, and then two contact pose. One is mirror of the first one, and we're gonna use also like 12 frames for run cycle, while we use the 24 frames for walk cycle, which took like 1 second for one cycle. For running, we're gonna use exactly half of it, like 12 frames. So the first frame, and then the time slider, I will extend it to frame 13. So now we're gonna make the I'm going to make the first contact pose. So his foot should be especially the ankle part. I mean, should be rotated quite a bit to. I mean, to show the pushing the ground to move the body forward. You should rotate the ankle quite enough to show that power, the strength, and then also the contact. For the contact, it's not in terms of running. It's not exactly touching. It's barely touching, but it doesn't really make a contact. It should be slightly above the ground. And then also one of the things with the running, I sent out the PDF file, and one of the things with the running in reality, they don't really swing arms as much. They swing, I mean, like compared to walking, they swing, but it doesn't really big swing in terms of real person. But when you create character, you can exaggerate like as much as you want. In a class, during class, and I mean, pointed out that the one of the drawings that done by key poses, done by Richard Williams, showing swinging of like big swinging of arms. You can totally do that, but like we're gonna stick with the like less swinging of arms, like real person, for this exercise. And as I said in the class, like no matter who suggests whatever, I mean, you should always question first, because they like whatever is considered as a norm, it always changes. And here I set up the I grabbed all the controls, frame 1, and I set a keyframe, and then I went to frame 13. I set up the keyframe as well, and then I moved to frame 7, which is exactly half of the point, and then I started making a mirror pose. So I'm just trying to copy values from this other foot and to the other to make exactly mirror pose. You don't have to be exactly mirror pose, but from my experiences, um, if you don't make a mirror pose, I mean it's fine if you don't, but if it's much more convenient if you make a mirror pose, because it's much easier to fix problems, because you can if there's any problems, it's gonna both of the sides will have exactly same problems, which means you can solve them all together when you find the solution. So, and when you fix one and it won't cause like other problems, like most likely. But if you have different values for for the mirror pose, then it's sometimes when you try to solve one part, and it could cause a problem for the other part. So, and also if there are problems, and you will have to find the solutions for each side. So it could take time. So it's better if you have exactly mirror pose, and with copied and pasted values, then it will be much easier. I'm here again copying the values and pasting values, and when I was doing this, I'm recording it like after once I've done the making this run cycle. Um, oh, and also this run cycle is only the first part. The second part will come up. I mean, will be will be done very soon. And while I was doing it, I was listening to. Oops, I made a mistake here. I grabbed the wrong thing. So sometimes you have to watch like perspective to grab the right control. And well, anyway, I was listening to a Spanish language course on YouTube, and then I was a little distracted while doing this. So I grabbed the wrong thing quite a few times. So I hope you don't get confused by that. So now I made the two key poses, two contact poses, and if I play that, then it's gonna look like this. And then I'm making the down pose for running, and this one, the foot should make a full contact with the ground. So it should be flat on the ground, and then it should be close to the below the hips. If you see here, the foot is almost like not exactly right underneath the hips, but very close to the hips. So I'm going to also lower the pelvis a little bit to show the weight coming down a little bit. And one thing that you should also notice is that also here I'm not going to make also keys for every controls. I'm just moving along, because I just let the arms and other parts swing without making any keyframes between them. So in terms of arms, I will just let them swing without making any keys in between those three major keys. And here also I'm just making the mirrored pose on frame 8, which is down pose for the other side. So now if you play back, it's gonna look like this. And then if you see there, it's like it's moving, like floating in the air too much. And so I'm going to make this passing pose on frame 4, following the which Williams is key pose, but also I'm going to mix it in like some reference. I mean, some tips from some information from reference videos as well. So I'm going to make this fully come down, still making contact with the floor, and I give like a little bit of the heel ball part to show the compression on the toes, and also I'll use this toe IK control to lift the ankle a little bit. If you see it here, so frame 3 and frame 4, there should be a contact, still like toes feeling a lot of compression and also pushing the floor with the toes and all that stuff. So I'm going to show that here by rotating angle a little more, and then I'm going to lift up the pelvis a little bit higher, because it should be higher pose. And I was still listening to a Spanish language course on YouTube because I really like to learn Spanish. So maybe next, like toward the end of the class, I mean course, maybe I will give some portion of the lecture in Spanish, maybe. And so if you go to the for the other side, for mirrored pose, I go to frame 10, and make sure you get the right control, because it could get really confusing a little bit, so you could mess it up. So the key is try to get the right control and the right value, and copy that and paste it into this other side, the opposite side, so that you have the perfect mirrored pose. So now I'm just going to copy that pelvis value and then paste it into here, the mirrored pose. So now if I play back, it's gonna look a little bit better now, but it's still like somewhat, it's not exactly look like a running because it's not kicking forward enough, if you see it here. So what I do is I make it kick a little bit more right before the contact pose, and also make the a little bit better I mean pose like overall. And so I go here on the frame 5, I lift it up because it's supposedly highest, I think, pose. And for the other side I do the same, just copy and paste the value, and then instead of the frame 5 I go to frame 6 right before the contact pose, and I extend this front foot forward much more, and then so to make it look more like a kick. And then this one as well, this other side as well. And if it looks a little different, just check all the stuff, like if you've done everything like the same. Sometimes it could be one of the options, or sometimes it could be just one of the translate value. And if you play back, it looks a little bit better. And I haven't done the weight shift to the side. I mean, I don't think I do as much weight shift as like compared to walking.